Good evening and welcome to the stream. I am Justin Morgan and you are watching uh, Computerized Start Live. Need to remember my tagline. Yes, it's like my blog except in a video format. And I'll probably formalize it more in the coming days. But I have the LC back on my bench. I have the blue SCSI that Heisenberg assembled. I have a monitor adapter that luckily came with instructions, because this has 10 dip switches on it. It is unnecessarily complex. Yes, if I think about it, I will check to see if these instructions are on Tinker Different, and if they're not, I will scan them and upload them. How about that? What a bargain. I also have a VGA cable plugged into one of the inputs on my capture card. I have a power cord. Is not plugged into anything yet. And safety glasses, because I have no idea what's going to happen. And I will warn you that you should not probably be doing what I'm going to do. This power supply has hazardous voltages inside. No user serviceable parts inside, or so they say. Do not remove cover. Refer servicing to qualified service personnel. Well, I am a qualified YouTube computer technician. Well, actually, I've been repairing computers a lot longer than YouTube. But I'd like to see what this Mac LC is going to do, because on the top there was a tape label that said no boot. That might just mean the hard drive's dead. Maybe the cap juice that's on the board here is eating away some vital connection. At least the 68020 processor, for what it's worth, is not rusted, which is good. So, unlike the parts board Steve showed off in his stream last night, this one's not a parts board yet. Although, depending on what I manage to do to it, it might become a parts board. Luckily, this LC is not one that has sentimental meaning to the machine itself. Just the fact that the first Mac I used was an LC, probably much like this one, except the school system had the 2E cards in them. So someday I hope to find a 2E card I can put in here. Maybe even with the cable. Although I would be glad to start with just a 2E card. But they probably did have 40 megabyte hard drives, much like this one. A floppy drive. Who knows? I think this has... I suspect it's 4 megabytes of memory, because I think these are 1 megabyte SIMs. And this is, I believe, the standard 256K VRAM SIM. So if I could get this machine working, I would like to get some memory upgrades from Silicon Insider, because not only do they look cool, but it would be cool to have a maxed out LC. I know some people don't care much about the LC because it was only a 68020 processor. But this computer allowed school systems to buy Macs that probably wouldn't have otherwise been able to buy them. So I have a little more respect for this machine than some. And I'd like to get it running and working. And then, if I could get it running and working, even if I do use a blue SCSI instead of the hard drive for reliability reasons, I'd like to even set it up with the software that I remember being on those LCs, including the dreaded @ease, which sucked all the fun away from Macintosh computing, but, well, I guess that's because they didn't have time to deal with the students that would have done worse to the machine. So, the first thing I need to do, because I didn't do it beforehand, shame on me, is I do need to configure my capture card. But I guess I will show you what I'm going to do. This computer has a Vision. I think it's the Vision RGB. Anyways, it has 3 inputs. The first 2 inputs are DVI, so they can do DVI D or DVI A, and then the third one is a composite input. So I believe I have my cable plugged into input 1, and I do need to configure the EDID, definitely. Because I'm going to be using VGA, I need to set it for DVI, because otherwise the input will not work for VGA. And I believe it's fine if I set that to HD, because if I set that to HD, then it will set basically from I'm not an expert on these cards, but from what I figured out, that if these are anything marked true here is supported. So it looks like I'll have 640 by 480, 800 by 600, 832 by 624. So I don't know that it will do the funky resolution. I may have to go in and add a custom setting, but anyways. So we set the EDID, and then I think it actually writes. It seems like it actually writes something to the board. Perhaps is actually programming the whatever ID-ROM is connected to the port. So that is all I need to do. Because if that's the wrong input, then I am going to just swap inputs on the back of the computer. All right, the other cool thing about these Vision cards, and I'm only going to do this because I'm going to do it for convenience, is I can pull up the Vision window for input 1, and it's going to correctly tell me I have no signal. So let's configure this Mac adapter for I'm going to try to all right. I'm going to set this for mode 1 for a 13-inch RGB monitor, and we'll go from there. So the way this works is there is a chart for the I need to finish setting up OBS Studio, which has a deinterlace signal. But it comes with a table, and there's several modes, and it defines what the tables are. I'll check. If this isn't on Tinker Different, I'll upload it. But, so, mode 1 is composite sync, and I believe that's what I want. And I'm going to do 13-inch RGB, because I know this capture card can do 640 by 480. And so for that, I need to turn 1, 4, and 5 on. So 1, let me get my spudger here. 1, 4, and 5. All right. So that should work there. I can plug my cable in, VGA cable in, plug the monitor cable into the LC, and hold on. Did not. Oh. Yes, it's a high quality adapter. Okay. One moment as I try to unscrew the screw, which is the what is not letting me plug the cable in. In fact, I'm tempted to see if I could just get the screw to come completely out. That's an unnecessarily large amount of threads. Quite honestly, I'd just like to be able to plug this in. There we go. All right. Okay, that one will cooperate. All right. I may fiddle with that screw later, but there we go. So I got the monitor plugged in. All right. Now, the keyboard and mouse. I don't really need the mouse, but it's plugged in, so we'll go with it. But I have this absolutely stunning example of an Apple design keyboard. Model M2980. Copyright 1994. So this is a newer keyboard than the LC, but it was available, and because of its spectacular, immaculate mint prototype condition, I was able to get it at a decent price, and I'll have to clean it because that's one of the reasons I'm wearing gloves, is because of how awful this keyboard looks. The other reason is because I keep grabbing the side of the power supply where there's thermal compound and getting it on my fingers, so I don't have a sink in the basement. So to save myself from having to go upstairs and wash my hands, should I touch the power supply in the wrong place, I put gloves on. Well, and this keyboard's gross. All right. Now, the other thing I need to do is plug in the power supply. And I am going to actually walk around my... Well, I should probably... Let me do this from behind, because I'm going to... Yes, I'm going to usurp the switch that I plug my soldering station into. All right. So now the power supply is plugged in and turned on, but the smart switch is turned off. So now, hey Siri, turn on my soldering station.
Okay, the soldering station is off.
Hey Siri, turn on my soldering station.
Okay, the soldering station is on.
Oh. Well, we momentarily had a video signal, I think. All right. Well, that's... Huh. Oh, let me guess. Is the LC one of the Macs that requires a battery to power up? All right, let me see. Did I? Let me see if I can tell when I got overzealous with cleaning my desk off. Which, if you saw my desk, you would probably laugh at the thought that I cleaned it. Nope. I must have cleaned it off before trash day. Well, now, of course, there is the one question. Do I actually have power? All right. Okay, that's nothing. That's practically nothing. That's nothing. All right, let's just rule out that I flipped the switch the wrong way. No, I'm pretty sure I had it the right way. All right, it would appear as if the LC is dead, or there's something wrong with the keyboard. Oh. All right, well. So, or I need a PRAM battery, which I don't have. Do I have anything like a PRAM battery? Well, nothing handy. I mean, I might have some coin cell batteries upstairs. And I could maybe make an aluminum foil. Well, I guess it's worth a shot. Let me see. Oh, I could pull the battery out of my Power Mac G4. All right, well, I'm going to go pull a PRAM battery out of another Mac, and we'll give it one more try. So I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. I have a PRAM battery installed. My Power Mac G4's time has now reset itself, but that is okay. Also, for anyone concerned about my Power Mac G4 and the fact I had a battery in it, my Power Mac G4 is not in storage, so therefore, there's really no reason to worry about the battery. If I ever do have to put it in storage, then I will take the battery out. All right. Well, let's go back to the screen share. All right, when I powered the power supply back up, I momentarily saw the screen went black instead of no signal. And, oh, hey, Steve. I am having great luck powering up this LC. It appears to be dead. Yeah, all right. So, yep, I can't get it to power up. I did put a PRAM battery in it just in case. So either there's something wrong with my pristine, rare prototype. Ha ha ha. It's my pristine, rare prototype Apple designed keyboard. There's only one of them like this in the world that has what I hope is spilled coffee on the G key and the space bar, and otherwise looks like they quite possibly pulled this out of an attic and listed it on eBay. And of course, I am joking. I know this is not a rare keyboard. This is not a prototype keyboard. I am just being silly. I mean, at least the Apple Desktop Bus mouse has a ball in it. Yeah, Steve, what I was trying to do now, because the keyboard came today, I wanted to try to power it up or see if it would power up so that I would know what state it's in before I risk more damage trying to recap it. And it would appear as if its current state is not powering up. I know when I flip the power switch on, I do get a minute sign of life out of the video because you can see my capture card briefly shows something. Yeah, I know. I think I should have probably recap it first, and I kind of half suspect it's the power supply probably needs recapped. I guess in reality, since I'm going to recap it myself, or attempt thereof, it probably really... I just thought it would be nice to know, does it power up before I start? I guess the answer being no, then I can't do any worse. It can only... unless I, like, let the magic smoke out. No, the fan did not spin. There were no signs of life. The fan did not spin. I did not trip any circuit breakers. I did not read any voltages. Although, let me double check that again. Actually, let me check something here. I have some better probes. which are not really going to help. Well, I guess I could read them on the power supply side if I'm real careful. Yep, seemingly no life. Let me really carefully. My probes don't really stick down in the. Let's see here. I don't know what the voltages should be, but let's see. That one is 0. That one is -0, and that one is -0. Yeah, I suspect the power supply is actually, as I was measuring the voltages, I saw something slightly concerning on the power supply. Oh, the power at the drive connector. That would have actually been a good idea. Yes, it was toggled. I had it down on the line. Yeah, it was 0 volts. So now I have a... Oh, lovely. I also didn't have it screwed together, so now I have a very... Yeah, that's a really... Now, I have the... I have power off, but... Yeah, I bet those caps have a charge on them. Actually, you know, that is an interesting power switch. Hey, Ron and Tom. Let's see here. Actually, let me check something here. If, all right, let me make sure. Okay. Okay. The big capacitor did have voltage on it. So, I suspect the switch is... That's actually a pretty good idea. Not that I'm totally convinced that this Quantum ProDrive LPS has any more drive left in it. But the power switch may be fine. Because this big capacitor actually did, it's still reading 10 volts, so it's discharging. Is it fixed yet? Well, Jay, we could go for the express fix. Hold, please. Do I have the express fixer? Yes, I have the express fixer down here. And I'm naming it after you, Jay. It's the Beige Mac Fixer. But that's anathema on my workbench. I also have the long screwdriver of Need to poke it from about 10 inches away. Funny story about that screwdriver, but I know, Jay. Although I'm still sure that rubber mallet would do a number to this board. It might be repairable, but all right. So let's see here. The small ones are the weakest. Did I get voltage when it's disconnected from the motherboard with power on? I did not check that. I can check that. Carefully. Okay. Yes. Oh, yes, I am streaming from Streamlabs. Tom, you're now a zombie. Because for some reason, the alerts are all broken on this computer. Okay. So it is switched on. And I'm presuming black is ground. Because that would be quite silly if it's not. Although, then again, Apple does weird things sometimes. Alright, so yellow has 0 volts. Orange has... Oh, okay. I think it was in millivolts. I was about to say that was bad. Orange has 0. And blue has... -1 volt. Yeah, there's 0 on that one. Yep. I've got 0, 0, and 1 volt. I do know the big cap. Oh, I got backwards. It's 6. I have... Wait a minute. 16 volts? No, it's on DC. Did the caps look good? Now that's a good question. All right, well, let's wait a moment for discharge. I'm going to answer no on that one. I do not believe the caps look good. There is a liquid on the board. I believe the capacitors have vomited on the board, although not explosively. Oh, actually, that big capacitor looks like it's on the AC side, so I have a feeling I should have probably switched the multimeter. Yeah, I would say the power supply needs recapped. So